To our Monday Mastermind. We're Grow Global. If you're wondering what that name is, if you're your first time joining us, it means we're going to help you grow your business, grow your network, grow your life so you can sell more real estate in a shorter amount of time, so you can make more money and you can have more fun, which is the thing about it. We are a diverse group of agents all across the country, and sometimes we have some international visitors on here even. So I guess you could say around the world, from all different brokerages, all different backgrounds, from agents who are just getting started to agents with 5 decades experience. And we won't point that person out to you on here, who that is. And it's not me, even though I have the most gray hair of everybody, but it's not me. But we have some free stuff. I'm gonna show you some of our free resources for you, which you're gonna enjoy. One of them is we have a Facebook page. Our Facebook page is where you can see announcements and things like that. We also give attaboys on there for things that you're doing well. We have an Instagram page where we make announcements. And hey, if you'd like to get some third-party validation, when something good happens for you, send it our way. Like if you hit a certain milestone or something like that, send it over. Our VAs will create a beautiful graphic for you and share it to our social media for you to share it to your social media. It's awesome third-party validation. We do record these today. As you know, the record button's going right now. I would encourage you to join us live on Mondays at noon, but hey, it's real estate. We understand how it goes sometimes. You can't make it, and we know a ton of people are watching the recordings. But when you're here live, you get to participate. And there's two things about that. Number one, you pay more attention, I think, when it's live. But number two, and this is something that a lot of people have missed, if you have a nice little snippet of a question or something that you add, our VAs will actually cut it down into a short. And then in that short, that 60, 90-second portion of you giving a tip or advice or something like that, you can actually take that and use that on your social media. And again, that's third-party documentation. That's you on a national webinar, mastermind of real estate agents. And you can share that to your social media pages, and it's going to be really helpful for you. And with that, I'm going to get out of the way here, and I want to introduce today who we have today. We've got an amazing superstar today, Stephanie Gilezan. Now, Stephanie has been crushing it since the 90s. She started her business in the 1900s. Isn't that right, Stephanie? She'll tell you her story about that, but she is a powerhouse in the state of Kentucky and also nationally and now internationally, also doing commercial real estate, residential real estate. She coaches, trains, mentors hundreds, several hundred different agents around the globe. And so today she's going to be talking to you about a deal maker mentality. It's the mindset that makes your business. And you don't want to lose deals just because you're unqualified. You lose them because you walk in hoping to be chosen versus making it happen. And so with that, I'm going to get out of the way and let me introduce Stephanie Gilezan. And by the way, if you have questions and things like that, she loves crowd interaction. You can put in the chat box and we'll answer them when it hits in the flow. So with that, Stephanie, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Jim. And definitely ask me questions because I absolutely want to answer as many of them as possible. And some of you might have already seen this. I've done this for the Women's Impact Network, and I also did this masterclass at the Cincinnati Regional Rally a couple weeks back, and very well received. And a lot of this is, we don't think about how much of the deal maker mentality that we never come across. We get really good at sales, but we don't think about how we negotiate. And today that's what we're going to talk about, because I want you to think about that last conversation that you had. The last time you entered a negotiation, that last phone call. I don't care if it was about a sale, a listing, whatever the case might be, you always leave there and you say, gosh, I wish I had said something different. Don't you? Every single time. We always second guess ourselves. And so today, that's what I want to cover. And just to give you a little bit of background, I know Jim said some of this, but this is my 27th year in this business. I got in it in 1999, and I have grown my business. I'm in Louisville, Kentucky. And in 2018, I started seeing this world in a much different place. And it's because I joined a company that was international. And I took my blinders off and I saw an opportunity that I had a wonderful skill. and it was called deal making. And I took that skill and I have now expanded it not only across the United States, but in about 36 different countries. And I know that's like, wait, how on earth could somebody do that? Well, we're going to go through these slides today, and I hope that some of what I share with you gets you to take your blinders off and you too get to see exactly why we are who we are and why I am who I am. And we're going to get there. So the next 50 minutes, we're going to cover no fluff. If you know me, you know there is no fluff when it comes to me. I'm going to tell it like it is, and I'm going to share with you exactly what I think. I'm going to share with you how to read the room, how power works, the language that wins. And you're going to hear me today say a lot about how I do not chase people. Do not chase people. You're going to hear that over and over again because I want that to resonate with you. I want that to resonate with you. But most importantly, I want you to leave here today not with how you get louder. I want you to leave here today with how do you become undeniable. That's what I want us to fix today. And before we can do that, we have to understand the difference. Power and confidence is not the same thing, you all. Every single person that I've ever come in touch with in sales trainings, anywhere, coaches, I went through success certified coaching a few years back. I've been through and I mentor people. I'm not a coach because coaching, you've got to like coach people to get to that level. You can't tell them what to do. And me, I tell people what to do. So they told me I wouldn't make a good coach because of that. But in sales training, they teach you that it's confidence that you have to have. And yeah, you do have to have confidence, but it's not the only thing that you have to have. It's confidence is how you feel, right? I'm confident today. I'm showing up here and I know that something that I say to you is going to resonate. That's the goal. And I'm confident when I walk into a room. But you know what? People can be confident. They can have a million letters after their name, right? And they can say some of the dumbest shit and totally screw up a deal. Am I right? Am I right?
Yep.
Happens all the
Yeah.
time. You've got to have the power to control the outcome. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Power is not the same as confidence, but we got to have both. So you can feel confident and still lose that room. And that all comes through how we relate to the power. Confidence is internal, power is structural, right? Confidence is your mindset, it's the belief in yourself. Power is your options. It's the options you give yourself, right? It's your positioning and it's your leverage. And those of us, and I say us because I'm putting me in that category, those of us that know we have options, position ourselves every single time to use that as leverage to win. Every single time. And that's why power wins every single time, right? And here's the thing, the deals, they're not lost on numbers, you guys. They're lost. They're lost on you not being able to position yourself appropriately, right? And so that's the deal. They're lost on positioning, they're lost on language, they're lost on who showed up needing that outcome. Haven't you ever haven't you ever smelt desperation? Haven't you sensed desperation off of people? So the difference between power and those without it is those of us with power, we show up evaluating whether that person, that deal, that listing is worth our time. So put yourself in the interviewer seat. Quit being the interviewee. Be the interviewer. Does that make sense? Again, deals are decided long before you're sitting at that table, right? Language, tone, that signals everything. We talk about it's not in the numbers, it's not in the spreadsheet, it's all in your positioning. One of the things that I do is I always make sure to set up those Zoom calls. I want the Zoom to be in my control. I want to be able to let you into my meeting, right? I love it when somebody says, "Oh, you send the Zoom link." Absolutely, I will. Because I control when everyone shows up to the meeting. It's positioning and it matters. Okay? There's three real sources of power, you guys, and I want to go through every single one of these and dive deep into them. And remember, Jim, if there's any questions, please stop me because I'm not looking at you guys on the screen. I'm looking at the slides, okay? Options, optionality. Options don't just protect you, they completely change your energy. When you have alternatives, your voice is different. Aren't you more confident sounding, right? Your pace is different. You're energetic. You're fast moving. You might be a little cocky sounding. Desperation, we talked about it. It has a scent. People smell it. The need for something screams at people. When you need the money, when you need something so badly, they know they have you. And that's when you lose. And so that's where you have to come back onto your positioning. Positioning happens before you even open your mouth. We talk about it. It's how you entered the room. It's how you enter that meeting. It's how you enter the Zoom. It's how you respond to their email. Whether you were early, whether they were late, what you asked first. Detachment is not coldness. It's clarity. Your ability to stay in evaluation mode when your emotions want to go in persuasion mode. And on the screen, it says this: calm beats passion every single time. And what I mean is not to get over dramatic, not to get overreactive, not to get overexcited. When someone wants to rip my ass, I love it. And I sit there calmly and I take it. And then I position myself to speak and to respond to that. It's positioning, it's power. My ability to detach from that emotion. It took a long time to learn that, you all. It wasn't just, I didn't just grow up with it. It took a long time. It was a learned behavior. It didn't take anger management, but it was close, right? But optionality is the leverage you can't fake, right? You cannot fake. You can't fake this, okay? It's psychological. When you have alternatives, again, your voice changes. I didn't move the slides quick enough, but when you smell that desperation, the other person smells that desperation. When I have an agent that is lowering their commission before the client ever even asks for the commission, I stood on stage in Cincinnati and I said that, and multiple people in the audience admitted to it. They did. I said, who in this audience says my commission's 5%, but for you it's 3? So many of them put up their hands. They bid against themselves even when they don't even have to. It's absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. All right. I'm going to catch up with my slides. Sorry, I got off on track. Now, here's the big mindset shift. And this is absolute huge. And the employee mentality is that hoping to be chosen mentality. That's that person hoping to be chosen. From a young age, we are bred to hope to be chosen. It starts in school when we're all in the kickball line and we're all getting ready to be picked for a team and we're hoping to be chosen, right? We're hoping to be the bus monitor, or we're hoping to be the hall pass kid, or we're hoping to be on the kickball team, or we're hoping whatever the case might be. That's that employee mindset. The owner mindset is deciding, is this worth my time? And those are two real different things that that client or that person on the other side is going to pick up on massively. The employee mindset is the person that over explains. You talk so much, you just keep on and keep on and keep on. There is absolutely no reason to over explain every single thing. Sometimes less is more, you all. We're going to talk about how silence, is the name of the game, but over explaining. I have an agent that I work with, and he's out in California. And it took him about 6 different listing appointments to understand this. But he was not a closer. He had all the relationships in the world, but he couldn't make any money. And the reason he couldn't make any money was because he couldn't stop talking. And he didn't know this. But as soon as he invited me into his world and he started getting people on my calendar, and I started doing the appointments with him, I saw it immediately. The first appointment, we get off and I said, Jeff, you can't speak. Stop it. You do the introduction and let me take it from there. I promise you, less out of you is more. It's the best. So we'd get on a call, we'd get to the point, I'd say our commission is 10%. Stop. Jeff would then start talking. He would explain and justify why and I'm like, Jeff, stop. He could feel me kick him under the table from Kentucky, you guys. That's how mad I was. And again, we would lose. And finally, he stopped talking. And since then, we've closed $40 million worth of deals because he finally stopped over explaining and over justifying. You state terms clearly. You don't answer unless you're asked. And you don't chase that approval. You evaluate the fit. Does all that make sense to everybody? Remember, you're not asking,
100%.
you're assessing. Sorry, Kim?
That was perfect. That's exactly.
Approval seeking is expensive. Remember that. Just if you don't remember anything, remember approval seeking is expensive. It's expensive for you because it's going to cost you money every single time. Evaluation mindset is what's going to make you money. All right? That's what you have to remember. So here's the deal. You have to be willing to detach from the wind before you ever walk into anything. And that's probably some of the hardest things for people to do because we're in the business of commission to commission, right? But even back in 1999, when I was 21 years old, the only thing I had going for me was the fact that I could work, the fact that I had ambition, the fact that I had grit. I didn't know anything, you all. But here's what I knew, that I could outwork anybody. And I also knew that if I could walk in the appointment and not scream desperation, that I'd get a chance. I was smart enough to know that. And so I could easily detach from the wind, which meant I had the willingness to walk away. That's your strongest close. Your willingness to completely walk away is going to be your exact strongest close. So before you enter any negotiation, you've got to decide, what is your walk away point? When can you walk away from a deal? When is it too bad? On one of the master classes I was teaching, An agent said to me, she said, Stephanie, I've had this house listed for 18 months. I told him when I listed it that it was worth 950,000. It's been listed for 1,200,000. And here it is all these months later, and they still won't reduce the price. What? Was that even worth it? Do you take listings just to have listings? If you take listings just to say you have listings, then that's your hobby. But if you take listings to make money and a seller is not willing to come to the table on that, is that your walk away point? We had another agent a few weeks back who said, every time I go to this house, I've got to pick up poop in the laundry room. I go, what? What are you not available for? Because that has never been on my resume when it comes to real estate. And I know people said, oh, we've got to do what we got to do to get a listing. No, you don't have to do what you've got to do. Decide, what does success look like for you? What does that look like for you? And what does that mean? You know, if you get the listing at this price, at this commission rate, is that what it is? What is the lowest you're willing to decide or to take it for? And if the whole thing blows up, what is your next move? If you have all of these answers before you walk into any deal, you guys will walk in there with the owner mentality, with the power, with the right posture, with the right stature to freaking win, control the room, and walk out with everything you want. Because you will have evaluated them. You will have put them in the interviewee's chair, and they will have interviewed for you. And they would be sitting there going, I hope this agent takes my listing. And it's true, you all. It's true. It's so true. Language. Let's get to the language, because language is exactly what it says, leverage. Every word you choose either adds to your power or it screws you. And most of us have been totally leaking our power with our language, right? I mean, that is where we have completely screwed ourselves, because you think about what's on the screen here. Say these, you guys. Say these to yourself. I was just wondering. But you're questioning. I was just wondering. Does that make sense? I think maybe we should list the house at 500,000. I'm sorry, but I just want to delete those phrases. You're second guessing everything you're saying. If you're not trusting what you're saying, why would the person you're saying it to trust you? Right? So instead, you replace them with what's on the page here. Instead of I was just wondering, here's what I'd like to explore. What questions do you have? Based on what I know, what I need is, my priority here is. These are your anchorage, the language that grounds your position without apology. Memorize them and practice them. This is what needs to become natural for you. Language that isn't humble, it's signaling you don't want to signal that you don't fully trust what you're saying. Now, what you know is it grounds your credibility. My position is it sets the floor. Let me be clear about what works for me. That takes ownership. And what I'm available for is that signals your options, that you have options. Now let's get to my favorite part. Silence is not awkward. Silence is expensive. After you name a number, stop talking. My commission is 10%. After you make an offer, you sit and wait. After you have a powerful statement, you let it land. I was doing a listing in Pennsylvania for some land, and the it was actually a referral from an agent from Compass. And the I was interviewing, they said there was like 4 or 5 agents that they were interviewing. That's fine. They have options, so do I, right? Um, they called me back for the second time and they said, here's the problem. You are the most qualified, but you're also the most expensive. I said, it's not my problem. Sounds like yours. And I just sat and sat and sat because the next person that talks after that is the person that gives in. And that's where most people have the hardest time. They cannot let silence happen. They can't do it. They got to just keep talking and blah, 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 blah. Way back in the day, in 2001, this lady, this agent here in Louisville, she was in her 50s, and she convinced me that if she went into business with me, because she was twice my age, that she would bring so much more business to the table. And I thought, I don't know about that. So we went on a few listing appointments. My listings are like 20 minutes or less. True story. Roll your eyes, but it's a true story. I don't care if it's commercial real estate. I don't care if it's residential. I promise you, it's 20 minutes or less. It's very simple. You don't present, you send that ahead of time. All right. You send your value, send your value ahead of time. Look, saying no is absolutely allowed. And saying no without saying no is even better, right? Because saying that doesn't work for me, but here's what does is exactly how you can frame that up. I need to see X before we go further. What you're describing isn't aligned with how I work. Let me think about whether this is a right fit. You don't owe anyone a justification for boundary, but you absolutely deserve to put up boundaries in all of your negotiations and in all of your listings and all of your buyer contracts. Every single one of them. Those that aren't putting up the boundaries are the ones that are getting taken advantage of. And when you're not putting up the boundaries, you are losing power, you're losing credibility, and you're losing respect. You haven't you ever noticed that when you do something for free, it's the worst deal you've ever done? Because they don't have any respect for you. Those of us that charge actually get more respect. You do it for free, you think you're doing somebody a favor. No, they don't respect that. So having those boundaries is exactly what you need to do. Now, being able to understand and recognize what power is, this is important because just as much as you're on this side of the negotiation as the other person, you need to recognize that. Because the power people, they pause. They control timing. They know when to pause. They know when to set the pace. They don't rush. They ask the strategic questions. Asking the strategic questions is exactly what's going to guide that entire conversation. Being concise, direct, absolutely no filler. And then obviously using those quiet moments to observe and not fill in. All of those are very important when it comes to controlling the conversation. And then here's how you spot insecurity. These people think they're authority, but they're not. They're completely insecure. And those are the people that talks over others. They're threatened. They name drop constantly. Every single time. I can pick out an insecure person in 2 seconds flat. They react defensively to questions. You ask a simple question and blah, 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 blah. They can't react in a simple way. And then they're constantly rushing to get to the end of the meeting. That's insecurity, not authority. So here's what's most important is understanding when to push somebody, when to pause, and when to walk. Now think about this when it comes to your buyer. Think about this when it comes to your seller. You push when they're engaged. When people are engaged, they're asking you questions. They're actually communicating about the process. They might be coming back and forth with objections, right? But that's your job to objection handle and answer those questions. That's pushing them, okay? Objections are interest in disguise. You pause and let them process. Don't keep talking to them. Say it and let them process because silence works. And when they're talking and answering that question themselves out loud, don't add to it. Let them keep talking and talking themselves. Have you ever been in a scenario? This happens to me all the time where somebody asks a question and then they answer it themselves. They keep talking and then they're talking themselves into it. And I'm just sitting there the whole time like this. And then they turn to me and go, "Gosh, you're so amazing. Thank you for that." And I didn't say anything. Happens all the time because silence works. They're thanking me because they processed and were able to come to terms with yes. And then learn when to walk away when the terms don't align. They will come back to you. I had a scenario. Guy offers 2.5 million for a $3 million piece of property. It takes me 37 days to get the seller convinced that that is a real offer that we need to consider. I go back to the buyer and say, "Great news. I have gotten them to 2.5 million if your offer still stands." "Well, actually now I want to pay 2.3 million." He kept going down. I said, "What's the justification there?" "Oh, well, now we've decided that there's this easement." And I'm like, this doesn't even make sense. And I said, "You know what? They're not interested anymore." We walked away, but we stayed in position. And what that means is we left the phone open. We left the door open. We left the opportunity there. And because we walked away, he came calling back. "Okay, you're right. We'll do the 2.5," because we didn't budge. We showed we're okay to walk away. His exact words were me, "But Stephanie, aren't you going to be upset that you don't get to make this commission on 2.3 million?" "No, it's not about me. It's about my seller." And you know as well as I do, not every opportunity is real and not every person is real. There is so much of that in this life right now and in this world, and there has been. And so often am I finding, especially in the high-end luxury price point, where I see agents working with clients who they have not vetted appropriately and they're kissing their butts. And I'm like, how do you know this person is not even real? What are you doing? And they're scared to push and ask the right questions. They're scared to vet them out. But the real truth is they're running around town wasting their time because they're scared to ask those questions. So sometimes it's okay to vet those. And remember, chasing is what kills powers. Don't chase deals, don't chase people. You know, John and I attract agents together, and I always say, I'm not chasing them. If they call us back, they call us back. I'm not chasing them. If they want something, they're going to come and get us. We're going to stay in position, and they're going to come back to us. Leave that door open. But over follow up is desperation. Now, you definitely have to follow up, but it comes in phases, right? Sending the third email before you've even had given them a chance to answer the first email, that's over follow up, you guys. I had an agent call me Saturday night and I told him, I said, look, he goes, I want to join your team. And I said, here's the problem. I I don't, I'm leaving town. He said, well, I want to join your team and I want to know what you're going to do for me. And I said, well, I'm leaving town. I said, look, send me an email. Send me an email. I'm going on vacation and I'll get back to you. But send me an email and tell me what it is that you can bring to me, that you can add value for me. And he sends me an email that night. That Saturday, he text messages me. That Saturday evening, he calls me. That Sunday, which was Easter, he text messages me. I, that is over follow up. That is leave me alone, you EPO. I mean, isn't it? He's chasing me. It's not attractive. Because he's chasing me, it's unattractive. Follow up is good, but not that way. So remember that. Follow up every few days, but not like that. If they're not saying anything, move on. Close by withholding. Don't give them everything, right? Make them want to come back for more. I always would say to people keep coming back to me because I infected them with something. It's like an infectious disease. They wanted to come back for more. They wanted to show up again to see what the heck I was going to say the very next time. And remember that the strongest closes are quiet. That's the ones that invite the action and invites them to come in and invite that action. Stay in position, not in pursuit. Keep that in your brain. Stay in position and not in pursuit. You keep hearing me say this, let some deals die because not every deal is meant to close. When you force the wrong ones, and we've all done this, I'm guilty. Everything on these slides, you guys, I'm guilty of. I've learned it myself. That's why I can repeat it, right? Because we all learn ourselves. But forcing people to sign a deal, it never works out, right? Forcing it for that short-term win and then it always falls apart, it's pointless. But I always have said the right people are always going to circle back. If it's meant to be, the right clients come back. And the right deals always find their time. But me forcing it is not going to happen. Me hoping and praying they win the lottery next week is not going to happen. I had in my development a few weeks back on a Sunday, this couple came in, this $3 million listing, new construction. They loved this house, loved it. And I loved that they loved it. And I said, so when are you going to write the check? And he said, well, we got to get the money. I said, well, where's the money coming from? You got to ask questions, right? He goes, well, we're waiting on it. I go, well, what do you mean? Are you waiting to win the Powerball? Right? He goes, no. I said, well, that sounds like no, but kinda. I'm warm, aren't I? He said, we're waiting on an insurance settlement. And how long have you been waiting on this? 19 years. Well, I'm so glad you came to my open house. And I wish you the best of luck and I hope you get it because that is a very long time to wait. But am I chasing that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Thursday? Hell no. Hell no. Guys, here's the deal. We've talked about this the whole entire time. I know I've been on rinse and repeat this entire time, but the most important thing, it's right here on the screen. You are not there to convince. Be there to evaluate, right? If you go into every single deal, every single appointment with you in evaluation mode and you not convincing, don't show up convincing them that you're the best agent. Don't show up convincing them that you're going to market their house the best. Don't show up convincing them. Here's your process. You're going to get the appointment, right? You send that presentation or whatever it is that you give to people about who you are. How do you show your value? Your pitch deck. I call it my pitch deck. You send ahead of the appointment. You send them your pitch deck, your listing appointment, your presentation, whatever it is, whatever shows who you are and what your value is, you pre-send it. When you get to the appointment, you say, did you have time to read my pitch deck or my presentation? If the answer is no, that tells you right there how serious they are about who they're interviewing, number one. And that tells you how quickly and how serious they are about selling their property right then and there. That's going to give you their time frame, their mental state, okay? If they say, "Yes, we've reviewed it," then you say, "Fabulous." You don't go take a tour of the property. You say, "Well, before we take a tour, let's have a seat." And you go straight into evaluation mode. The first words out of my mouth when I sat down at that table always were, "Well, here's something I want to get out of the way first and foremost. I'm really expensive, but it appears you like expensive things too. So that seems to be okay, right?" If they said okay, we continued the conversation. When they asked what the commission was later on, remember, I had disclosed up front exactly that I was expensive. If they didn't like expensive things, I stood up at that moment because I was ready to walk away. I walked into that appointment knowing if I wasn't going to get my rate, I was out the door. Stephanie doesn't work for free, and I don't work for people who don't respect me. That's the deal maker mentality. I hope you guys enjoyed it today. Now, here's something I want you to do. I want you to scan this QR code. Outside of real estate brokering, I own a platform called Airdomo. And I have been married 20 years, but over the course of the last 6 months, I dove deep into interviewing people who have done matchmaking for dating. And I decided to write an algorithm for matchmaking for where should you live? Where should you buy your vacation home? So you all can take this quiz, check it out, and see where you should buy your second or third home. And then you can check out airdomo.com as well. All right. And then if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, that's my QR code for that.
Love
Any
it,
questions
Stephanie.
in the chat?
Everybody, round of applause for Stephanie there on that. Let's see it out there in the chat. So, because of our little troll we had in our group, I did mute everybody on there. So if you want to ask a question, you can type in the chat or I can unmute you. You won't be able to unmute yourself. So you can raise your little hand down there in the little, I think there's down in the reactions, you can raise your hand and I can unmute you. So you're good to go on there. But while we're waiting to see if anybody has any questions, Stephanie, question for you. So if someone listening today, they loved what you said and they feel like they've been playing too small, but maybe they're also overwhelmed with everything you said, what is the very first thing they could start with right now? What's the very first thing they should start with?
Well, in what, getting more deals, or give me what context are you asking? In
They've been playing small. They feel like they've been giving things away and things like that. They want to do better in negotiating and things like that. What's something they could start with or practice right now that would get them started? Their first
well,
step.
I think that that's where you've got to, you everything going forward from that point forward, you have to redefine your process, right? If you don't have the process down of sending your pitch deck ahead of time, get your pitch deck. Look at who you are. Look at your representation. Look at everything about you online. Look at do you look expensive? That's number one. Do you look expensive, right? Can you justify it? Is your package that you send somebody worth something, right? Is that enough to represent you? Because by the time you get to your appointment, you shouldn't be there explaining who you are. Your presentation should have already done that. You're there now evaluating if you want to work with them. And that's where you always will have the upper hand. People, and I know this sounds bizarre, but I promise you it's 100% the truth. They say, "No, we have to have you. We have to have you." And I love that because I truly get to pick and choose what and who and how I work. And that is a wonderful thing because that's when you feel like you don't work anymore, when you get to choose who it is you're working for. There's only so many hours in a day, and I might get 10 opportunities every single day, and I can't choose all 10. So I'll choose the three best ones.
I love that. And I think that a lot of agents probably use a pre-listing packet, but how many use a pre-buyer packet? Because really now with the new BBA, you're
Yeah.
actually listing buyers now, right? You have to get them to sign an agreement and things like that. How many buyers are out there using a buyer packet, sending it over ahead of time so that they can look everything up and know ahead of time? Because the worst thing I think would be going to show a property and then they want to haggle over the price and you're on the spot and you're kind of dead then because now you're talking about versus walking in with confidence, having that sent to them ahead of time. I think that's a great piece on that. What's a good book, Stephanie, that you would get somebody started on if they wanted to start working on their language? Or is there a YouTube channel or something like that that they would follow? What resource would they look for to get this material?
Oh my goodness. I don't have, it's at my office and I'm at home today. John, what's my book I like? The deal, oh shoot, what's it
The
called?
Art of the Deal?
The Art of the Deal. You all seriously, you got to just read it. I mean, that, but then there's also another one that is really good that I read a long, long, long time ago. And it talks a lot uh about the mindset, and it really does talk a lot about chasing, and that's where when I understood, look, we get into this business and we have to have it, right? We have to be able to pay the bills. We have to be able to feed ourselves and our kids and all of those things. But I think it took a few times of me getting burned and then realizing, well, that's not going to feed the kids anyway. So why get burned? Why not protect myself a little bit more? And I do that too with attraction, with agents, you know, um, with everyone, with any relationship. And my husband, I don't think he's on here today. I don't know if he is or not, but he's just glad I didn't do it when I met him. No, I'm teasing.
I love it. And then what I heard you saying a lot, Stephanie, I think had to do a lot with like this book here, if you've ever seen this,
Yeah,
NEP,
that's a good one. Yeah.
those types of questions. You can get this guy's all over YouTube and stuff like that, but he's got a lot of questions and things in there that practice. And just so you know, it's a funnel. If you get the book, they're going to hard try to sell you on their actual training and coaching. But there's enough, I think, inside this book. Really, those phrases that Stephanie was using are actually some of them they have in here that they're practicing in there, trying to get you to stop saying things like the question that you had, does that make sense? exactly the response that you had on it is much better, and they teach that inside that book. So that's a great one people can get. You can order it online. I think it's like $17 or something like that. But then they put you in the funnel to try to sell you just a heads up, try to sell you the 15,000 or $10,000 course on top of there. So who
Oh
else
my
has a
goodness.
question for Stephanie while we're here? Heard somebody, I thought. Cheryl Johnson said, is there a replay available? Yes, Cheryl, we have a YouTube channel where we record all of these, and you can definitely want to be on there. I think our VA will put all the links to all of our social medias in here, our VA, our YouTube, our Instagram, and our Facebook on there where you can say that. And those are usually available 2 to 3 days after the live. But we love having you here live too. It's great to be able to participate and on there. John Herhold says something he thinks that people could practice every day is their language. Everyone can practice improving their language. And Stephanie, do you have a place where people could practice if they don't have a live person to role play? Oh, there we
Oh
go.
my goodness, practice in the mirror, you guys. Seriously. But you can also practice with turn on your chat GPT and talk to your chat GPT. Talk to Claude. If you all haven't talked to your chat GPT though, trust me, that is phenomenal to go back and forth with that.
I love that you were going to say that. That was what I was going to recommend in there. You can tell ChatGPT what you're trying to accomplish to improve your language. You could actually even upload Stephanie's talk to give it an example of what you're trying to do, and then you can practice back and forth conversationally from there. Stephanie, you just put something in the chat. You want to tell everybody what you put
Those
in
are the
there?
slides in case anybody wanted them.
So everybody can click that, and you can save that to your desktop, and you can actually upload those then to your ChatGPT or your Claude or whatever it is that you're using, and that will give it an example of what you're looking to do. So that works on there. We're almost to the end of wrapping up. John Herhold says the key for that is to go on voice mode with chat. Yes, you go back and forth. Right, you're right, John, on that. And then ask it to evaluate your response and how you sounded, how did you come across, and it'll give you tips and tricks on what you said and what you could have done better. And it's great. It's very good at correcting you. Not as good as your wife is at correcting you, but ChatGPT is excellent at that. Stephanie, anything you want to add as we wrap up here towards the end?
I think that's good. Hopefully we'll edit out the hack thing.
Hey, that shows that we're live and we're real, right? We're not scripted actors on here. We're just a bunch of real estate agents all trying to collaborate together, help each other, so we can grow our business, grow our networks, grow our lives, so we can sell more real estate in less time, so we can have more fun. And so, we all wanted to thank Stephanie for coming on here. And one more before we go, Kim Grice. Let me see if I can unmute you, Kim, so you can ask a question. Go ahead, Kim.
Well, hello everyone. Kim Grice, West Tennessee, Boss Moves Elite Group, Jackson, Tennessee. I missed the call. I'm sorry. I just got out of another meeting. But Stephanie, I know you were amazing. So I can't wait to go back and hear the replay. But this question is something different, Jim. At one of these calls, we had someone that came to come on and was doing a bold trail training. And I actually signed up for that, and they're taking money out of my account, but I never did get an email or had any of the training. So it's completely off subject, but I need help in knowing who to contact.
Yep. So what you want to do is get a hold of either our VAs that we have and talk to them so they can get you connected with the people at Bold Trail and get you all set up and running. And then just, our VAs that work for us are excellent at getting your account set up with Bold Trail for you. So if you're busy out, sounds like you're out busy doing appointments and things like that, get with them, get with Kim and Rob and have them help you get with the VA to get you set up and running. If that were, they just said in the chat, Kim, they'll reach out to you. So there you go.
Well,
The
thank
VAs are going
you.
to reach out to you.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yep, the VAs are here. By the way, if anybody else needs help, we have VAs, a bunch of them, and they are very excellent at getting people on board and set up. So I want to thank everybody for jumping on today. We are going to be back next Monday at noon Eastern Standard Time. Invite a friend. The more people that are here, the more we enjoy it. And we know hundreds of you will be watching it on the YouTube channel, but being here live is the best place. You might even get to see a troll jump in on our thing and try to hack us and jump in on our Zoom. So we must be getting popular if internet trolls are now jumping in on our Zoom. So we must be making a difference out there. But I want to thank everybody for jumping on. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for being
you.
on here and sharing with us. 30 years of experience. You started when you were 5 years old. So there you go. Good to go. Thanks, everybody. We will see you next Monday. Check out the replay on YouTube if you want to see it. Don't forget, before you jump off, download in the chat Stephanie's docs if you want that. That's the entire slideshow that we saw, which had a lot of the practice phrases and things on it. You can upload those right into your AI and practice back and forth with it with that. And with that, we'll stop the recording and we
Bye,
will
all.
say bye to everybody as we're jumping off.